So my next guest has been the face of the Vancouver Warriors since the team traded for him back in 2015. He's basically been a top three scorer on the team in pretty much every season since the team traded for him. He won the NLL's Rookie of the Year title back in 2014, and he's a proud member of the Ohio State alumni. Number 18 in your programs, obviously number one in your hearts. Logan Schuss, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but I appreciate the intro there.
So like obviously the big news from last week, the NLL's upcoming season getting shut down, unfortunately. Sort of, I guess, where were you when you heard the news, and what's your mindset out at with the decision now?
Yeah, I've been kind of hearing rumors about it the last few weeks, and the difficulties going forward with trying to make it happen. And I was prepared for the bad news, and once we actually heard about it, it was kind of a little bit quiet on the group chat. And guys, kind of like I said, we kind of figured it was going to be happening, but it's just crazy to think about how it's going to be another season gone. And I mean, I can't remember the last time I think it was March when we had our last game. It was the last lacrosse game I'd played in for almost 16 months now. So it's pretty crazy to think about, and it's upsetting. But I think it's not only just lacrosse players that are going through tough times and not being able to play. It's people are getting to miss out on so much things. So I kind of look at it at both angles. I'm happy that we're still healthy and we're still able to, like we talked about, like live a pretty normal life here in Vancouver.
Yeah, for sure. I know that there was like some rumblings about that whole XFL, or sorry, not XFL, XLL with Extreme Threads getting underway. Did that ever get going, or did that kind of fizzle out too?
Yeah, that actually fizzled out, and it was supposed to start up. I forget the month, but it was like a week away, and I was excited. I was pretty pumped up, and being able to play a little bit of lacrosse and get some contact in, and just feel that same rush as playing a game. But yeah, I got shut down, and yeah, I just never was able to pick up again. And looking forward, I'm hoping that something like that could get started come springtime, and whether it's that or hopefully the WLA, but some form of lacrosse that we can kind of get out there and get some team camaraderie going again.
Any chance I can entice you to come play some Senior C lacrosse in Poco?
I don't know if I'd be able to do my Ladner dirty like that, but
yeah, no dice. I mean, we were talking earlier about like playing golf and stuff. Have you been able to like get the competitive juices out of you in any other way other than playing golf?
Yeah, honestly, I recently purchased a Peloton a few months ago.
Oh, right on.
It's been like not only just for health wise and being able to stay fit and stuff, but it's pretty cool the different app that you can use on there, and you can challenge your friends and you can do rides together. You can actually like video FaceTime each other while riding. And it shows you all your stats and like how well you're doing on the ride and like how much output you've been putting out. And so it's actually been pretty cool. Like you can race against some of your buddies and challenge them. And that's actually been pretty competitive because, you see somebody take a ride and then you say, hey, like try to beat it or try to beat yours. So I'm actually roommates with Eli McLaughlin from place with the Colorado Mammoth. So we've been kind of going back and forth racing each other on there. So it's been fun.
Who on the Warriors have you been battling with the most on the Peloton then?
So the only other guy who actually has one is Riley Lowen uses it. I've actually been battling with my buddy from Ohio State, Dominique Alexander. He's a beast. Like he's a big boy. Like his legs are some of the strongest part about him. So it's been tough going against him. But yeah, there's a lot of guys actually in NLL that have the bikes. I know Garrett McIntosh has it, and Cam Holding and Robert Church. So there's a few guys around the league. So I was trying to get them all interested in doing like a little Peloton NLL ride and kind of get juices going there.
Absolutely. Over the past like handful of years since I mean you guys were the Stealth and then became the Warriors, like it's not really much of a secret that standings wise, like the results haven't really gone your guys' way too often. A lot of that is also attributed to like the lack of draft picks over the handful of years up until this year, obviously. But I guess, are you able to sort of pinpoint like one or two things that you guys sort of need to address to get you guys on that next step to being a dominant team in the league?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing would be like consistency, and stronger starts. I think we're a team that, once we get the rhythm going and we find ourselves, you know, halfway through the first quarter, we're down by 3 or 4 goals, and we're kind of like, whoa, what just happened? So I think we can kind of get out a little bit hotter and start. I'm not sure what we can do to do that. We got to kind of look at the big picture and see where we can come out strong, and maybe test out a couple different things offensively and defensively strategies. But I think if we can kind of become a strong start team, I think we'll be able to outlast teams down the stretch. I think we got a good young core, some solid veterans. I mean, I'm not the young guy anymore. I'm just trying to get kind of looking around on the group chat on these guys. Geez, like guys are 24, 25 now, but shape and stay strong, and to be able to keep up with these young guys. But I think we have an exciting team moving forward. We're getting a lot of players who are coming back and want to live in Vancouver and kind of finish up their careers here. So we got guys like Brett Midsky, Nick Billick, Garrett McIntosh. So some big solid players who've done a lot of great things in NL.
Yeah, definitely. I got to say as well, like in like preparation for like another project I've been working on, I went back and watched like every game of your guys's from last year. I did it with Calgary as well and Buffalo, and like, oh my god, because I watched Calgary and you guys as well, I had to watch that Billick leg injury twice and like hear those screams. Oh my god, I was like, it gave me chills having to hear that twice. That must have been brutal in person.
Yeah, it was like it happened so fast that yeah, the only other time I've heard something scream like that was I heard had somebody snap their leg one
Oh,
uh, junior A game, and yeah, the screams. I still think about that. Like we still talk about it between my buddies and stuff of just like the loud scream and just the severity of those injuries. It's
oh
crazy.
my
But
god.
Nick's a warrior. He's I obviously have him on all social media stuff. So he's been working hard, getting rehabilitated, and going on runs. And seeing him the other day, and he's looking strong and fit. And that's one thing I'm excited about is when the season does get up and going, whenever that is, it'll give guys like that time to recover and time to train, and hopefully make a great comeback.
Yeah, definitely. So this is gonna sort of sound like I'm pumping your tires a little bit, but there is like
Please do.
a. So like I said, I watched all of your guys' games and Calgary's games, and Curtis Dixon is sort of one of the faces of the league. And in watching his games, like one of the things that sort of sets him apart is his like ability to shoot in these like awkward positions, like off his wrong foot or just like between his legs or whatever. And watching your guys' games, I noticed the exact same thing watching you specifically, where like you oftentimes shoot when your body isn't necessarily telling the goalie like shot. So I guess I'm just wondering. I mean, like, how does it feel to be the second best player in the league? but more seriously, like, is that something that you focus on when you're practicing, like, to shoot in those awkward positions, or are you more so of the mindset like any shot is a good shot?
Yeah, so I think definitely in the NLL, um, being able to shoot at those angles and being able to shoot and have that deceptive kind of shot is huge, because the goalies are so good. You got to beat them more than ways of just picking a corner or being able to shoot at 100 miles an hour. You got to be able to trick them a bit as well. And so it's funny. My mom actually would always tell me this, like, always change your shots up and keep the goalie guessing. I'm pretty known for shooting low shots, and I like to go 5-hole a lot. And so that's kind of been the scout on me. So she always tells me to kind of change my shots up. And my dad would always say, he's like, hey, when you're shooting, make it look like you're passing. And when you're passing, make it look like you're shooting. Like, just change things up and kind of build that sort of game where defensive teams or defensive players and goalies don't know what you're doing. You got to keep them guessing at all times. So I think I've taken that really into consideration with my practicing. And, I've been known to have like a really quick release shot. So that way, I don't need a lot of time and space to be able to get my shot off and get it off with a lot of speed.
Yeah, definitely. I guess keeping sort of with you mentioned like the script on you I mean, being teammates with Jordan McBride, have guys sort of picked up on the script of him getting that dunk pass from behind the net, or is that still like a mystery around the league?
He's honestly like a freak. Like, he favorite players I've ever played with, like, because I play with him in the summertime as well.
Yeah.
And it's great for a player like me who turned into a bit of a feeder, because when I can pass to a guy like Jordan McBride on the crease, or anywhere around the net, I'm thinking it's goal almost every time. Just like his ability, like it's funny. I always look at his shoes, and he loves like the dunks even from in front of the net as well. He dips and dunks it, and his shoes, like where the toes are, they're completely like worn out black. And I'm like, I look at mine, I'm like, mine are perfect. Like, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, because he just drags his toes. He's like a receiver in the NFL, like just being able to keep his toes in bounds and get that final touch in before going out of bounds. So that's him around the crease. He's so deadly, and he has such great.
That's nuts. I like. It's funny. Like watching all the games, it's so easy to look at a guy like Jordan McBride and kind of just based on like his appearance, it's easy to look like he's got the boxy shoulder pads and stuff. He's like really bulky. It's easy to think like this guy looks like he's kind of out of place, but then you get him in front of the crease and like those are some of the quickest hands. There was a goal that was disallowed by him. I think it was against Buffalo in the last season, like right at the beginning of the game, and it was like same thing like you just talked about, dragging his toes, and he threw like 3 fakes before it went in. It was like I've never seen quick hands like that.
Oh, it's just crazy. Like he just got such soft, smooth hands inside, and like he said, like his ability to be in tight in that situation. And I'm thinking, okay, get the shot off, and he's like, okay, throw 3 fakes by the time I slammed over top of this goalie's shoulder. So it's pretty fine.
Oh my god, that's nuts. Okay, so also getting back to Curtis Dixon, I got to pull up this tweet that I read from him last week, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. So he tweeted out last week, when you've played for 30 years at approximately 10 months out of the year, my lacrosse stick doesn't see the light of day unless it's practice or game day. Do you sort of share that mindset, or do you rather have the stick in your hand like 12 months out of the year?
You know what? I'm like 50-50 on that. I think for me, the week before this, like yesterday, I was at the box for an hour and a half with my family. Like I went with my mom, dad, and brother and stuff for an hour and a half just to go toss the ball around. And I've kind of used going to I love going to the box. Like I love more than anything in the world, just throwing some headphones in, going to the box by myself or with a buddy and just buzzing the ball around and getting a good workout in like that. I think that's like some of the best, just like from your, like mentally, physically, like it's just my happy place. Like I love going to the box and just tossing it around. And for me, it's fun. Like the only way I kind of agree with Curtis in that sense is I'm not a big, like, I don't like take great care of my stick. Like, an offensive player, like I think my stick's like in the back of my truck, like truck bed, like just tossed in there. Like it's pretty funny. I know a lot of guys like take their sticks to the hotel and then take it here and there. And I'm like, if I can just leave that thing under the bus and just grab it when I'm going into the game, like that's fine with me.
Oh my God.
But like a guy like Mitch Jones, like I lived with him downtown for 2 years, and like his sticks, like we're sitting on the couch with us, like hanging out. Like that guy just takes care of his sticks like it's like a baby. And it's just funny when the news got announced about the season ending, and I had my stick and gloves in the back of my truck, and I was putting my golf clubs in there because I was going to play a round of golf. This was like a couple of days ago or whatever, a week ago. And I was just being funny. Like I took a Snapchat of me grabbing my stick and just whipping it into like the yard, and then tossing my clubs in there and like shutting the tailgate. And like a bunch of the boys, and everyone's like dying laughing. They're like, "Yeah,
oh pretty God. Much." That's a professional lacrosse player right there.
Time to go. That's why I always joke with a bunch of people. Like everyone always asks me, like, "So what are you gonna do?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a professional golfer now." And they're like, they know I'm like very average at best.
Have you like just following you on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that? It seems like in the past like 2 years roughly, you've been getting more and more into golf. Have you like did you just pick it up, or have you always been playing it?
Yeah, so I'd say I bought a brand new set of clubs, I'd say like 3 or 4 years ago. And then I kind of caught the bug there, but I was just like slowly getting into it. But now like it just becomes such a great thing to do during COVID, because you can abide by all the rules and you can play without, being too close to guys. And, for me, I'm always like over in the rough, away from the fairway where you're supposed to be. So I'm definitely abiding by the rules, staying away from others. But no, like I just caught the bug, and like all my group of friends, like lacrosse players and outside of lacrosse, they've just all of a sudden picked it up, like every other, guy 30 years old and around 25 to 35. 25. Like, and it's such a interesting sport because for me, I think I'm fairly good at most sports. Like I can pick up, most things and pick it up pretty fast. But it's just like I play so much golf and I'm slowly getting better. Like I shoot like high 80s, but it's just hilarious that like it's such a challenging sport and the ball's not moving. It's sitting right there. Nobody's checking you. Nobody's coming after you. Nobody's doing anything to affect that me hitting that ball, and I just can't do it sometimes.
Are you one of those guys that has like 40 thoughts going through your head like right before you swing, or do you just blindly go at it?
I'm slowly starting to pick up a little bit more things, but my biggest one is like, do not lift your head. I'm like, just there's the ball, just hit it. And yeah, today I was on point today, but there's been times where it's definitely not on, and I'm just thinking to myself like, what am I doing, wasting all this?
All right, so just reeling back to lacrosse a little bit. Lacrosse has obviously been on the rise, especially with what Paul Rabel's doing with the PLL and all that kind of stuff. Is there a world where you bring your patented cleats with ankle socks look over to the PLL and the NLL, or are you going to stick strictly to the NLL?
Yeah, I played the MLL for 2-3 years, and I loved it. I love the field lacrosse game. It's totally different than the NLL. It's cool because there's a lot more different players that play both. Like when I played in the MLL, there wasn't a ton of NLL guys who played as well. So I thought it was pretty unique to be able to play in that league. And pretty much the PLL is the same. There's only probably about 10 to 20 NLL players who still play in both. But since the NLL was canceled this year, and hopefully, the PLL will be able to play their season. And I always talk to a lot of the guys. I have a good relationship with Paul and like guys like Marcus Holman and Tom Schreiber and stuff. So if anyone's out there listening, I am definitely want to crack at it. It all has to do with work. Like if I can make it happen with work and not be too much of a pest and be able to take the time off and to make games. And I'd like to make a full commitment to it rather than just kind of being in and out. I did that a little bit my last year at the MLL, and it's just tough to build like the team camaraderie. And I'd hate to go in and take a guy's roster spot when he's 100% committed.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually just reading an article yesterday it was from back when you got traded to the Stealth, from I guess they were Minnesota at the time, the Minnesota Swarm. And there was a quote in there from you. I'm probably paraphrasing in some way, but it was essentially like you asked Minnesota for a trade because you didn't want to be looked at as a guy that couldn't commit to a full schedule with your new job that you got. And I just like reading that, I thought that was such a cool thing to hear, because I think it's so often guys would stay silent, especially in professional sports. Like nowadays it's starting to get up with more personalities and stuff like that. But I think for you at that time to be able to speak up and say like, I don't want to be that guy, and like the team is probably better off getting someone else, and I want to go somewhere else where I can be the player that I can be, like that. This isn't really much of a question, but I just thought that was a really interesting read, especially for it being like a few years ago.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because it was tough. Like I had a great opportunity to start my career at a younger age, and it was the type of job I couldn't pass it up. And it's close to home. It's right here in Delta, so it's a career opportunity that came to me at 23 years old. And I love playing for Minnesota, and they had such a great room. Like that's after my first year. We had such a great room, such a great group of guys, and I loved everything being a part of the Swarm. And it was just tough because, like you read, like I'd miss a game, and then I would go fly in, miss practice, show up for shoot around in the morning for the 45-minute shoot around, and then I'd go play the game. And then I really didn't know if I was going to be able to make the next game or make the next practice. So it wasn't fair to the guys. And I could see, guys weren't saying anything, but I was like, it's kind of one of those things like, oh, like, I had to take work off. I had to, miss my kid's birthday. I had to miss this to get to this practice or get to this game. And then Logan's kind of just coming in and playing. So I think it was a good opportunity because I know Johnny Palace, I think, wanted to kind of get back east as well. So it was able to do a one-on-one trade for me and Johnny, and it worked out well for both of us.
Yeah, definitely. I got like one more question, and then I got a couple like lightning round ones, if you don't mind. But just sort of keeping with the theme of you coming home to play sort of with your hometown team. When I was speaking with Tyson Geik a few weeks ago, he mentioned that we were talking about like the lack of draft picks, and then this past year or this past draft getting like a whole cupboard full of them. He was mentioning that he thinks that as the years in Vancouver here progress, more and more local guys, like local talents playing juniors here, it's going to be one of their priorities. Like we want to play here, like at home in Vancouver. Do you think that that is something that's realistic? And I guess like how do you think that'll help build the team into dominance?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of it because for me, a lot of the guys now who are going to be drafted are away playing college ball. So for me, I was never out of the question that I wanted to return home after college and to live back in Vancouver and kind of start my life here and pick up from where after juniors and stuff to live back in Vancouver. So I was never thinking like, okay, like I'm definitely holding out to play for Vancouver. I thought, if I do get drafted by Vancouver, it'd be awesome because I'd be able to play at home and, back home where I wanted to see my family and stuff. And I've spent 5 years away. So I've kind of been there, done that. I was away playing college lacrosse for 5 years and be able to come home was sweet. But I think that could be a really big thing for not even draft picks, but seeing more and more guys who are becoming free agents and the thought of, hey, I can still play in the NLL, I can still work, and I'm not going to have to travel 8 to 9 months out of the year. That takes a lot of toll on you because, we're not flying around private jets. We're not doing that. We're showing up 2 hours early to the airport, sitting around, especially in the wintertime. You got so many delays and the flights are kind of hectic. So I think it's very, everyone loves living in Vancouver. Like we were talking about, I was playing golf today in February 7th or February 8th, whatever day it is, right? But pretty attractive to come to a place where, you can go to the beach, you can go play golf, and you can go snowboarding all in the same day.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I got just a couple. I got a small handful of lightning round questions that are not lacrosse related. So just to prep you for it a little bit. Okay, first night out with the boys after COVID's over. Your only choice of footwear is either Crocs or Heelys. Which ones are you going with?
Crocs.
Crocs, bold move. Does that mean that you're a socks and sandals kind of guy or what?
No, I actually have no problem with Crocs. Like, it's funny in this, like, I have no problem with like cruising around with no shoes on. Like, if I'm just buzzing over to my buddy's place, like I'll slip some sandals on, or I love just rocking barefoot everywhere I go.
That's a bold move.
Yeah.
All right, worst household chore.
Folding laundry.
Yeah, just the back gets so sore so fast.
And my problem is I don't mind folding it actually, but I hate putting it away. I'll just show you my room. I pretty hate it on.
Oh my god. Yeah, we'll keep that out of here.
In clothes, I just got a pile of it. When the week goes through, I'm like, oh, I'll just wash it again.
Oh my god. You're a professional athlete here, Logan. What the hell?
Yeah. I think I'd rather go buy a new shirt than fold it and put it away.
Oh god. Go-to brand of chips, not flavor, brand.
Doritos.
Okay, all right.
I actually like hate chips.
Really?
I don't like chips at all.
What? Like any flavor?
I don't remember the last time I was like went and bought a bag of chips. That's like, I like nachos. Like I'll crush nachos all day, but like I do not like just cracking a bag of Miss Vicky's salt and vinegar. Like,
wow, that's like breaking news.
Experience with a bag of chips as a kid or something. I'm not much of a snacker in that sense.
Wow. Okay, so if you did have any kind of snack food in general, do you have like a go-to?
I like beef jerky. Like
okay.
Yeah, I'm a big like meat kind of guy. Like if I'm gonna snack on something, like it'd hopefully be like some beef jerky or pepperoni sticks and bit of a savage.
Just as long as it's not like the gas station pepperoni sticks, please. Okay, good.
Like the turkey pep sticks are pretty good nowadays.
There you go. All right. I'm not sure if you're a craft dinner guy or not, but if you are eating craft dinner, are you eating it with a spoon or a fork?
Spoon.
Spoon. Yes. There you go. Attaboy. And then last one here. Would you rather camp in the summer or go to a cabin in the winter?
Camp summer.
Yeah, like the hot weather rather.
Huge camper. Like we would go like as kids. I remember we'd like in junior lacrosse, like we'd have Friday night games in Delta, and it was like Fridays, finish the game. Everyone's trucks are loaded up, and you're just booting it right up to the campgrounds. Hopefully, we're already playing in Langley or something like that. So it's a little bit close to where we're going, but we were just like, I think that's awesome. Like as kids and stuff, once you get your license and once you're, able to kind of get out on your own, is just to kind of go up there, and wouldn't be much. You'd basically pack of hot dogs and some buns, maybe some sandwiches, and then you're just on your own, just out there thriving.
Oh my God. Do you have any like camping trips that you still do with buddies from junior or anything like that?
Well, my friends, like, they're all big into like quadding or
Yeah, yeah.
side by side. Like, I don't do those type of sports because I'm not very skilled in those ones. I had a traumatizing. I flipped a quad when I was out of camping when I was in junior.
Oh my
And
God.
I like crushed my finger. Like my finger's still like broken,
Oh, that's shaped like a U a little bit there.
like, as much as I can close it.
Oh,
So that every time I look at it, I just think about that stupid quad that I flipped, ruined my life.
oh my God. Do you this just popped in my head right now, but and then this will be the end of it, I swear. The the first game you guys had last season when you guys were playing Calgary and you got in that like wild fight with Zach Courier. If you're getting in any sort of fight, like does the pinky come up in any way, or is it like fine to handle that?
I Yeah, if I was to like throw a punch with this hand, it would actually like, I don't know, it'd kill. It just like hangs out there, so it'd probably like catch him and like yeah, or something. But I'm not a good fighter. I'm not a fighter at all. Like it's just I was jogging into that to be like the separator. I'm a very low conflict guy. Like I don't like conflict. I'm a pushover in that sense. Like I just like be all worked out and good to go. And so I was just jogging in there to like separate them, and then all of a sudden Zach's like reaching on my face mask, and I'm like, okay, let's go. But I'm not like, and like obviously my fighting technique is just stand in there and just throw them. Like,
Yeah.
I got caught one, but I always joke around with Justin Sell too, because we fought that one time, my very first time playing in Vancouver with Minnesota, and I ended up getting the best of Salty there. Anytime we've become like best friends now, like we hang out and like we're good buddies now. But I always tell him, like, if you're getting a little chirpy, I'm like, the Salty, I'll just go meet you over in my corner, buddy. And like that was like 8 years ago.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like you're more in your prime now than than back then.
It's funny with Zach too, because like he's such a great guy, and like me and him have a great relationship. Like after the fight, and I like went into the locker room and stuff, like I get a text from him, and he's like, what the hell? He's like, you got me with a good bomb there, like come on. I was like, dude, you okay? Like it's just like so silly, like. And then when I was leaving the arena, in the hallway, we just bumped into each other, and we're just kind of walking and like just shooting the shit. So it's pretty funny.
Damn.
Lacrosse is like that. Like you get into a fight with a guy, and 5 minutes later, you guys are laughing about it.
Yeah, no, I guess it was kind of like good timing for something of that magnitude to happen with like Biz Nasty being in the arena. It gave him sort of like a good introduction to lacrosse, I guess.
Yeah. No, anytime I talk to Biz, he's always like, lacrosse is just a wild sport. Like it's just crazy what you guys can do to each other out there and not get penalties or anything.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I got one more, and then that's it. I swear. I guess sort of in that same topic of lacrosse being like a little bit more on the violent side. Does it ever sort of like eat away at you a little bit that a lot of time crowds are there wanting more fights to happen, or like are you just sort of, is it just like that's just like part of it, like people want to see the entertainment like that?
Yeah, I don't think it bugs me. I think it's people want some entertainment, and it's a rough sport, so it's like comes natural, like, oh, like if scrap happens and stuff. So I'm not against it. I think it's it happens for a reason. I don't think you really need to schedule fights. I think if it naturally happens, like with what me and Zach did, that's just like raw emotion of the game, and that happens with anything, like any type of sport. You get competitive and you get violent, and it's something happens and you got to scrap a little bit. It's part of the game, I think, and I think fans love it. It's pretty funny. I just think about it. Like I was watching a video of the scrap, and like people just jumping up, yelling, screaming, like yeah. I was like, it's kind of savage. Like at the end of the day, like people were just like screaming for someone to get punched in the face, like kind of wild.
Little barbaric, I guess.
Yeah, totally barbaric.
All right. Well, if there's any like major takeaway from this interview, I think it's that I got a maybe out of you to come play senior C lacrosse. So I'll hold you to that. I'll put that out on Twitter.
Yeah, it's not out of the question. We'll see. If it's
Yeah.
the only league that's up and running, I'll be there filling the water bottles.
Right on, man. Okay. Well, yeah, that's everything I got for you. So yeah, I seriously, I really appreciate you hopping on here with me. This was really unexpected. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy, no problem. Good luck with everything.